So the topic is exploring MySQL 8.4 innovations and 9 innovations. So before diving into the topic, let me introduce myself. My name is Arunjith Aravindan. I have been working with Percona for the last 11 plus years, and I have total 16 plus years of experience in the MySQL and open source world. So I love writing blogs and started 10 years back with Percona blogs. Finally ended with writing 2 books. These are the 2 books published recently, and the second one, Book Authority of India recognized as a best book to read in 2015. So agenda for the talk is where are we in the MySQL lifecycle, then where are MySQL users today, why do many MySQL instances are still running with older versions, then upgrading from MySQL 5.7 to 8 and 8.4 facts and urban legends, then key changes in MySQL 8.8 and 8.4 and 9, then how to use the major version upgrades using the different tools. So where are we in the MySQL lifecycle? So basically, as I am working in the managed services, dealing with hundreds of customers, most people in the customer side, they are not aware of the lifecycle of the MySQL, and it's very important to know that MySQL lifecycle spans for 8 years, and initially we will be getting 5 years of initial support, then extended support will be last for the next 3 years. So why I added the slide over here is 5.7 is no more. Still I added here because a number of customers are still running with older version, expired version like 5.7. We got 5.7 in 2015 that spans for 8 years, and premier support ended in 2020, and extended support ended in 2023. In between, we got in 2018 we got initial LTS release for MySQL 8.0. So as I told, we got 2018 LTS, and the life of the 8.0 is going to end in another 3 more months. So in 2026 April, that too done. So those who are running with 5.7 or 8.0, we need to get upgraded to 8.4. That's very important. So moving to the 8.4, still 8.4 also will be getting the 8 years of support. Premier support will be for 5 years, then next 3 years of extended support, and finally that will end by 2032. So moving to the next one, the Percona, we offer extended support for 8.0 for next 3 more years, as the initial and premier support is going to end in next 2 months. But this is not to motivate customers or anybody to continue using the 8.0, but a number of customers are struggling to get upgraded due to the different things. Yeah.
Sorry, are you going to be providing security fixes for CVEs?
Yeah, we will be providing Percona server, we will be providing the bug fixes, but no features will be added to that version, and the community we won't be able to provide, but at the same time code will be open source and you can utilize and compile it and use it if you would like to. But this is not to motivate people to continue working with 8.0, but due to a number of customers used to tell that their application stack is not able to go with the upgrade, and they need more time and so on. So they can utilize this. So 8.4 again, LTS, as I told, April 24, LTS means long range support, as I told. April 2024 the support will be completed. Then this I already explained. Premier support will be last for 3 years, and extended support will be getting premier support will be 5 years, then extended support will be getting 3 years. So once again, those who are running with older version like 5.7 or the version going to expire, please, we need to get it upgraded to 8.4 at the earliest possible. So this is the question we asked many of the customers or in the community. Then few of the answers we got I will be explaining. So some of the answer we got is one is the technical reason. Some of the customer telling that 8.0 is unfit for them to use with the existing stack. Then unsolved backup dependencies, and another reply we got is the original development staff for the their team is left and they need to find new one.
So they go back.
Then they have already tried once and failed, so they don't want to move forward. So another set, they said that perception of cost and risk. They are saying that horror of upgrade, reading some articles and something, they are saying that it's very horrible to get upgraded once. Get upgraded, application may fail and users may affect, and so on. And the upgrading from one major version to another major version is not, cost is non-zero, so they don't want to go for the upgrade. So, and the third set of people, that's very interesting, they used to tell that our application is working fine, we don't bother about what actually running in the background, let it go as it is. But it's literally saying those who are running with older versions, their data, customers' data, and users' data is in risk because security vulnerability will be there with the older versions. So don't hold on to the older versions, we need to get it upgraded to the latest one. Then upgrading from 8.5 to 8.0 and 8.0 to 8.4, facts and urban legends. So are there any real difference between 5.7 and 8.0 and 8.4, or where are the missing 6.7 and 6.7 releases? Yes, the answer to both questions is yes. There are a lot of difference between 5.7 to 8.0, then 8.0 to 8.4 and 8.4 to 9. And why we are missing, there are a lot of code revamp has been done by Oracle moving from 5.7 to 8.0, and that's the reason we are missing the 6 and 7 versions. So we don't need to bother about that. And I would like to detail the difference between or comparison between the older version with the newer version into 3, mainly into general changes, InnoDB changes, and security changes. These are the 3 areas we need to look into that. What is there with the new major versions before we go for the upgrade. And these are another 3 areas. It's very important, very critical. People used to skip those things, and if you don't bother about this one, when you get upgraded to the next version, the application stack will be failing because something is removed in the MySQL, and your application may be depending on that. Then when you get upgraded, your application will fail, and that will lead to the end user issues. So this is the diagram, I took it from my book, and this is the diagram. We can see that one of the main changes I would like to explain what happened in the 8.0 is that transactional data dictionary TDD. You may be, once you install and if you go to the data directory, you may be seeing that mysql.ibd file inside the data directory when you compare with the 5.7, and that is something like all the system tables are being moved from MySQL to InnoDB tables. So that helped a lot of avoiding crashes and so on. I will be explaining in the upcoming slides. Then another change is that the system table was holding the double write buffer and undo logs and all. So that has been moved from system table to separate double write buffer and undo table spaces. Then in temporary table space, session-based temporary table IPT files will be created in the 8.0 onwards. Then if you compare with the 8.0 with 8.4, the default change buffer is being by default disabled in the 8.4, but if you want, you can enable it. And also adaptive syntax also by default disabled in the 8.4, but in 8.0 it is enabled. If you want, you can enable there too. So general changes, initially I will be discussing the difference between 8.0 with 8.4, then I will move to 9. Then finally we will see 5.7 to 8.0 as well, because there may be still many are running with 5.7. So general changes, removal of master slave completely been removed in the 8.4 compared with 8.0, and we had to use replication and source keywords instead for dealing with the replications. Then foreign key, we need a unique key on the parent table, then only foreign key will be working in the 8.4. Then moving to the next one, float and double auto increment removals. The float and double auto increment columns, auto increment are being removed totally, and we have to migrate to int or big int, or we need to have a new primary key before getting upgraded to 8.0, 8.4. Then there are many new reserved keywords have been added with 8.4. You may can look into that official document. Then bill log retention, the expire bill log days has been changed to seconds. So you will be getting more control on the dealing with how many bill logs need to be preserved in the server. Then automatic histogram, that before we had to run the analyze table, update histogram separately, but along with the analyze table itself, histogram will be updated, and that will be useful for the queries. Then dropped server options like SSL and SSL admin servers. Instead of that, you have to use the TCL version and admin TCL version variables. Then moving to the next, InnoDB changes in 8.4 compared to 8.0. InnoDB powerful instance that is been auto calculated, and based on the buffer pool size, or either based on the buffer pool size or either based on the CPU, it will be calculated. The formula has been added. Minimum of either of this will be taken and will be set to the buffer pool instances. And the change buffer is as I told, that is being disabled by default, but if you wish, you can enable it and use it. InnoDB adaptive index, I already explained, it is being by default set to off. If you want, you can enable it. Then InnoDB flush method is being set to default ODirect. Before it was fsync. This is to avoid double write caching and so on. And if the operating system support, that will use the ODirect, or it will be using the fsync. InnoDB IO capacity is something I would like to detail more. InnoDB IO capacity was set to, by default it was set to 200 and 400 for 5.7, but for 8.4 it is been set to, by default it will be coming with 10,000 IO capacity, and double of that with the IO capacity max. But I would like to explain something here. Based on my experience and testing, setting a lower value giving a better performance. For example, we had few issues with the customers, and we had to work on that, and finally sorted out those performance issues with setting a minimal value, like lesser than 800, 600 values are been working fine than defaultly coming with 10K IOs, IO capacity. So somebody interested, you may can test it in your lab as well, and publicly you can share with the community your feedback and so on.
What type of workload was that?
Sorry?
What type of workload was it when you were testing that?
What hardware?
No, workload. What was the workload?
The production workload was there, and the production environment only we did that. Then that means the write workload was so high compared to read workload, I would like to tell. Then log buffer growth is being increased from 16 MB to 64 MB for reducing the IO high concurrency writes. Then security and account management changes, something MySQL native password is going away, and we have caching SHA-2 password by default in 8.4. But if you want to enable and use the native password, you can enable that variable in the my.cnf and use it. If that is the case, you are holding the upgrade from 8.0 to 8.4, you may can consider that, but I would recommend you need to work with your application side user to compatible with the SHA-2 password and move forward with this. Anyway, in 9 you will be that option, this will be completely removed. Anyway, moving towards 9, once it is got LTS, you may need to get it compatible with that. Then we go to granular privilege. Flush privilege is being added to the 8.4. Before you have to use the super and redo privilege will be it will be run along with that one, and you can assign specifically this privilege to a user and they can run that. Then set any definer and allow non-existent definer before it was been with the root user alone. Now that risk is been avoided, and you can assign to a specific user, and that can be used with stored procedure and so on. Then GTD tagging is the another one. Then moving to the 9 innovative release, that is not at LTS, this is an innovative release, and today morning we got the information that it will be released as a 9.7, right? 9.7 will be the LTS, going to be the LTS. And the native vector data type has been added to the 9, and you can use that. Autopilot index advisor, unfortunately that is not there with the community, it is only there with the heatwave and cloud focused only. It is in future you may be getting that, I hope. Then saving JSON output explain analyze into user variables, there is another feature with the 9. When you are working with the query tuning and so on, and you can set a variable and you can assign the, you can redirect the result of the explain into that variable, and once that done the query tuning or alteration of the table, adding the index or removing the index, you can compare with the previous result with that explain. Then another thing is JSON duality view, something I have given an example over there. You can create the view and you can query that, and the JSON, you will be getting the result in the JSON format, something like that. So moving to the next one, JavaScript support, JavaScript stored programs. Unfortunately, that is not there with community version. It is there only with enterprises and cloud. But in Percona server 8.4, we have the similar feature. You can use it, and but that is in the tech preview. But you can test it and use it from your side. And the decimal support for the JavaScript program also been added to the 9. Then replication parallel workers by default was set to 0 in the 5.7 and 8.0 and 8.4. Now in 9 we won't be able to set to 0. By default it will be set to 1. Either 1 or more you have to set. Then the MySQL client, we may be using the MySQL client to run the commands like ls, source and so on. But in 9 by default it has been disabled, and if you want to run any commands, Linux command on the MySQL prompt, you need to use that -- command option, then only it will be working. An example has been given over there. Otherwise, by default it will fail. So, yeah, security, as I told before, a native password is going to be completely removed, and SHA-2 password will be enabled, and you won't be able to enable it more. So, before getting into moving to the 9, you need to work from the application side and make it compatible with the SHA-2 password, all the users. Then logical dump, that is something user can be done with the MySQL dump option in the 9, something like PTShow grants. PTShow grants, we will be able to dump the grants from the MySQL, right? Same feature is been added with 9 MySQL dump options. There you will be getting an additional feature like drop user. If you use this option, drop user will be added with the dump file just before the create user. That drop user will be added there. Then granular privilege has been added. Those who are dealing with the SRS, before it worked with only root. Now you can assign that privilege to specific user, and that user will be able to manage that feature. Then connection control component, that is another thing which was before worked as a plugin. Now you would be able to deal that with that variable. Once you can manage it with the variable instead of dealing with the complexity has been removed with that plugin, adding in the plugin and so on. So that's all about 9, and today morning we got the details, we got the information saying that more on the features they are working towards the performance improvements compared to 8.4 to 9, and 9 has a better performance than 8.4. Marco Tusha also confirmed that they were discussing in the morning. Then moving to the 8.0 with compared to 5.7, transaction data dictionary, that is the another change I already discussed. Something very important change made by the Oracle. Then that is something like that helped us to do the automatic DDL. Something like before the alter table operation, when you do with the alter table operation with the 5.7, when you restart the instance in between or instance got killed, that table might be crashed many times. But in 8.0 we have this transaction data dictionary for, so the changes, all the changes like directory updates, storage engine operations and binary log writes, part of the alter has been made within a single transaction, so that either it will be rolled back or it will be committed, even though the MySQL got restarted when we are dealing with the alter operations for the massive tables and all. Then MySQL upgrade command, we no need to bother about separately running the upgrade command with -s and so on. It will be automatically upgraded when the MySQL being restarted after removing the old binary and adding the new binary on the time of upgrades. Then I will be skipping few of the things because we don't have too much time to discuss all the points. Then default character set, now that is being moved from Latin 1 to UTF-8 MB4 for multilingual language support. We will be able to store more symbols and other stuffs in the MySQL tables. I have already blogged on that. Those who are highlighted on the slides, we may once the slides are being uploaded to the Oracle site, as those who are interested can click on that and go to the Percona blogs where I blogged the features. Then moving to the invisible indexes, something like dropping the dealing with the indexes. Dropping the index is a metadata change, so it is very quickly, if you drop the index very quickly it will work fine. But when you want to add it back, it will be time consuming process. For example, you have a lot of unused index in your environment, you want to drop it. If you drop all those index and all of a sudden you face some issues with the application, if you want to re-add them, then that will be time consuming. So instead of that, we can utilize that invisible index feature and make the indexes invisible, so that optimizer won't be able to use that index, and we can confirm that all our application is working fine for a week or so. Then afterwards, once confirmed everything is working fine, then we can plan for the dropping the indexes which we made to invisible. Then moving to the persistent command, something like before, if you set any variables dynamically, then we need to manually update the my.cnf and put those variables over there. If you miss to do that, then finally if you get the restart, the old variables will be there with the setting. To avoid that, we can use that feature, set persistent, so that you would be getting a mysql.cnf file inside the data directory where that's a JSON file where all those changes will be updated, and once the MySQL gets restarted, from there automatically it will read it and then apply it to the instances. So moving to the another one, InnoDB changes in 8.0 compared to 5.7. The auto increment counter. For example, if you have a also, for example, if you have a user table and if you have 3 records in that, if you have the auto increment IDs, if you insert the fourth record, it will be inserted in the 4th one. If you delete that record and insert the 5th one, then again that will be inserted in the 5th one. But if you delete, suppose if you delete 5th one also, and if you restart the MySQL and if you insert the another one, that will be inserted in the third record, as a third record, 1, 2, 3 it will be. But that lead to a lot of inconsistencies and replication failures. So in 8.0, the counter made is persistent. Even though if you delete the records, whatever it is, even though if you restart afterwards also, then that records will be inserted as a 6th one instead of inserting in the 3rd one. So I have logged that one too, and with an example, those who are interested can go through that. As I already explained, the system tables and data directory tables are made with the mysql.ibd. Then undo log table space are moved from the system tables and brought it to separate undo log. We will be getting the data directory. And we have the InnoDB dedicated server options. I don't know how many are using that, but still. Then InnoDB directories, you can configure that, and you can have separate directory for the InnoDB tables outside of the data directory. So displays and all managing, shares and all managing, it will be useful. Then moving to the next, security and account management, I already discussed all of this, so I don't need to explain again and again. And if you want more secure, you can go for FIPS as well, but not sure how many are using that and all. Then another one is multi-factor authentication. That too complicates your authentication, and password expiry. That, for example, if you don't want the user to use the old password, you can use it, but it definitely make more complication to the. Then moving to the next one. So we no need to worry about seeing all these changes. If you do proper testing and if you follow the process properly for getting the upgrade from one version to the another major version, it will be completely successful. Without zero downtime, we will be able to get that done. Then, so deprecation is something I already told. What does that means? Once it is deprecated in the next releases, it will be completely removed. So we need to act as soon as possible to work on the upgrades. And removals are very important. There are a lot of removals, and we need to work on that and find out which are those being used by your application. Then need to go for the upgrades. And removals continue. Then is it tricky? Many users hold on the older version because thinking that it is tricky to get upgraded. Is it safe without outage? We will be able to upgrade or not? Yes, we can do that if you do proper testing, if you follow the process. And I have blogged the tools around. We can use it to make the upgrades easier and without having any issues getting upgraded. So in that MySQL shell upgrade secure utility, it's a one tool. We can use it for compatibility check to see that what are the variables removed and existing environment, what are the variables removed and so on. And also to see the tables are compatible with upgrading to the latest version. I already blogged on that. All of the tools have been blogged, and we can go through that. Then PT upgrade, PT query digest and upgrade. That is another very interesting tool I used to work for the upgrades for the customers. Something like in the application history, there may be thousands of queries. It will be very difficult for you to test all the queries and confirm that in the newer version it is working or not. So we can use those tools, both those tools, and collect the slow logs for a day or a week or something like that, then process that with the digest tool. Then finally we can use the PT upgrade tool to run it in the newer environment comparison, and the tool will be providing whether the query is query failed or not, or is there any performance issues and so on. That and all will be logged, and we can review the report and find out problematic queries and fix and move forward. So before itself we can ready with the application to go to the next version. PT config diff is something like we can compare the configuration difference between the instances. For example, if you upgrade the FISA replica node, if you want to compare with the primary and all, you can use that too. Then PT show grants, as I already explained. If you want to export and import and export grants between the servers and all, we can do that. So that's all from my side. And Percona Live is going to happen in May 27 and 29. Those who are interested, please join with us. We will meet there again. And if you have any questions, please.